Next on Worcester News Tonight, a group in Worcester calling out the superintendent, saying there is racial disparities in the Worcester Public Schools. Plus, a full house for another city meeting tonight to discuss the future of the Midtown Mall. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A rally before tonight's school committee meeting in Worcester aims to send a message to the leadership of the city's public schools. Community groups say the superintendent and others have failed the city's students of color, especially its Latino students. They want school committee members to take notice. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with more. Cam?
Anna, the coalition says nearly half of Worcester Public Schools students are Latino. That's way more than any other demographic citywide. And they say some of the suspension and discipline rates they're seeing are alarming.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough!
Demonstrators at City Hall say racial injustice is a major issue inside the Worcester Public Schools.
Folks have been meeting for the last 6 months to talk about disparate discipline of Latino and kids of color and kids with special needs.
The Worcester Coalition for Education Equity says English language learning students have the highest dropout rate at 5%. They also point to statistics showing Latino students have the highest rates of chronic absenteeism at 19%.
How can you justify those numbers? We shouldn't be disciplining these students. We should be educating them or finding alternative ways to be able to deal with situations that arise in our schools.
Superintendent Maureen Benenda says the district has made significant progress since taking over as superintendent. The public schools released data Wednesday showing in-house, out-of-school, and long-term suspensions are all down at least 39% for the district's Hispanic students.
And I do agree that we have to look at suspensions for all students and also for our Latino students because there's a gap there. But if you look at the data that was released yesterday, it shows we're doing good work.
This week, Mayor Joe Petty asked for a complete review of suspensions in the city, but the superintendent believes recent claims of racism are unfair and a bad look for the district.
This is given a view that is not accurate of our Worcester Public Schools. It's a great place to be. I sent my own daughter to the Worcester Public Schools.
Following the rally, protesters walked into the chamber for the school committee meeting. They say they want Benenda out.
And if we have a superintendent that's unwilling to engage in what's going on, then I call on everyone from the city, including the business community, really look at the situation.
Some of this is derailed, some of the work with children, and my job is to work with kids and make sure that they get what they deserve.
Now, Benenda says she wants to continue that trend of cutting suspensions for all students. On the other hand, the coalition says they're also looking to replace school safety director Robert Pizzella. Anna.
Thanks, Cam. Also at tonight's school committee meeting, the union representing city teachers speaking out against comments made by a member of the committee. Education Association of Worcester's president Roger Nugent responded to Dante Comparetto's comments, saying the district has crazy amounts of racism. Nugent says the association and employees of the district are outraged by those claims and want clarification on what kind of racism is taking place in the district.
AW represents 3,000 of the 5,000 people that work in the district, so if you weren't talking about our members, I don't know who you were talking about. Our members are on the front lines in the classrooms with students every day. Clarification of what type of racism he was speaking about should have been made before he made the statement he made.
When approached for comment Thursday, Comparetto declined. The Worcester Redevelopment Authority meets tonight looking for public input on the future of the Midtown Mall. The room was packed as community members responded to the WRA's desire to see upgrades to the property on Front Street. The authority has even looked into the idea of taking the building by eminent domain if the owner does not agree to make significant improvements. Michael Agbertoko, owner of Successful Shop in the Midtown Mall, says he stands behind the mall's owner.
He tells me, he sees the Midtown Mall being a place like Faneuil Hall where families, immigrants, whoever can come and experience the past success stories and the future success stories, and hopefully they can be a part of it because he gives immigrants and minorities the opportunity to jumpstart their entrepreneurial ambitions, which, where else can you find that?
Others say it's time to deal with the property. WBDC President and CEO Craig Blaze says the mall's owner has had ample opportunity over 25 years to take advantage of programs to fix it.
The property owner has a responsibility to keep their property up, for not only the residents and their neighbors, but to keep the property up for the tenants who are in that building.
The WRA is giving the mall's owner 30 days to present a plan for improvements. City and state officials gathered to kick off a new and important campaign for Worcester. The census is just under a year away. Worcester Business Development Manager Edgar Luna says it's important everyone who lives in the city becomes aware of the census as early as possible. He says Worcester needs to know exactly how many people are living within the city limits so they can get proper funding from the federal government.
That is identified, the city of Worcester will be receiving obviously allocation from the federal government. The federal funds that we receive are the ones that are used in the city of Worcester to pay for schools, for roads, and so on.
Worcester has created the Complete Count Committee to make sure people are aware and educated about the census. The 2020 Worcester Census will be released April 1st, 2020. Clark University hosts Israel's first Arab Rhodes Scholar tonight. She shared her experiences growing up as an Arab in Israel. Leah Najemi says she tried to bring a different perspective of Israel to people abroad. She says the story of non-Jewish citizens within Israel is never really told, and she wants to be the voice for them. She wants to spark a conversation about Israel beyond talking about the conflict there.
It's really about just showing people, that Israel is just another country that has its challenges, and what we need to do is not necessarily just kind of point a finger and criticize, but instead trying to figure out ways to solve these challenges and these problems by kind of uniting together and bringing all these different minorities to the table.
Najemi will continue her tour in the Midwest and West Coast. She will also be attending Oxford to study understanding inclusivity policies. Southborough police are looking for the owner of a used car dealership. They say he took payments for cars and then closed his business without giving customers what they paid for. Today, some were showing up only to be met with a locked door. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the latest on the investigation.
Steve Morse bought this car from Right Way Auto Sales in February, but he says working with the dealer wasn't easy.
On a weekly basis, I was writing to him through an email stating, "Where's my title? Where's my title?"
Moore says it took more than a month for him to receive the title from the Southborough business. Others aren't so lucky. Police say the owner, 32-year-old Venetia Souza, received payments for cars and then took off.
Something's obviously weird about it, right? It's very odd.
No one was at the business Thursday, and there are no cars in the lot. Police say they have received numerous complaints. Souza is charged with 3 counts of larceny over $1,200, and police issued a warrant for his arrest.
These poor people that thought they were getting a great deal only got the great deal because they knew that they were leaving, and that's really a sad thing.
Michael Lombardo owns Central Motors next door. He says the alleged victims have been coming to his door for the past few days.
Some with plates in hand looking to pick up their cars, and unfortunately, they're not there.
Moore says he was able to get his car registered, but now he's concerned there could be other problems with his car.
I have no clue as to how honest he was with the sell.
That was our Rosalind Flaherty reporting. Table Talk Pies has issued a citation from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. A pending penalty payment of more than $13,000 is due for an on-site injury. The OSHA website says an amputation happened in early January. The violation was issued last month. An inspection of Table Talk is still open, which means violations may be added or deleted. We did reach out to Table Talk Pies for comment, but have not yet heard back. The College of the Holy Cross's president is declining to keep an independent investigator to look into allegations of faculty sexual misconduct on campus. According to the Telegram, after Reverend Philip Burrows' announcement, faculty members voted to call on the college's Board of Trustees to appoint an independent counsel. Students have been demanding more transparency about sexual assault at the college. They held a sit-in back in February. With more confirmed cases of the flu across Massachusetts, doctors are reminding people it's still not too late to get your flu shot. School districts in the area are also taking extra precautions to help keep students safe. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
The peak of flu season is over, but new cases are still being confirmed in central Massachusetts.
Vaccine becomes very important. It is still beneficial, and I think you should get it until the end of the month.
In Worcester, the public school district says vaccinations made all the difference.
We did not have a lot of children coming down with the flu. We had no schools that had to be shut down in any capacity. And I believe it's because we were able to vaccinate more children than ever this year.
Dr. Deborah McGovern is the director of Nursing and Health Services. She says this year the district held immunization clinics in all 51 schools. McGovern says the typical number of confirmed cases is in the hundreds, and this year less than 50 students got the virus.
I've been in this role for 5 years, and when I came here, there were about 300 students immunized. That was it. We have gradually increased to over 2,200.
At Leicester High School, nurse Diane Moffett says multiple students recently tested positive.
My 2 confirmed cases were within the last month. We saw more illness and absenteeism in January, but the cases confirmed were later on.
Both school districts say they take extra precautions to keep their students healthy.
We really stress hand washing and proper hygiene and ways to stay healthy for students to get rest. We stress that here at the high school in health class, in my office every day on an individual basis.
Scare is out there in Massachusetts. It's close to us. You know, it's definitely in our area. We have taken such good preventive measures that I think we're in pretty good shape.
According to the city, there were 82 confirmed cases of the flu in Worcester, but they suspect there were about 580 in total. In Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Today is a special day for a landmark Worcester restaurant. OConnors is celebrating their 30th anniversary. Owner Brendan O'Connor says when he and his family moved from Ireland in 1988, the unemployment rate was at 25% there. They opened O'Connor's a year after moving to Massachusetts. He says 30 years later, he still says it's a delight to come to work every day, and it's a fantastic business to be in.
We've sniggered a few times, and we've cried more than once. So, you know, it fills the spectrum. We're very delighted to be still standing here today, healthy and enjoying 30 years.
All month long, O'Connor's Facebook page is posting pictures of people celebrating a night out, a life milestone, or a St. Patrick's Day at the restaurant. If you'd like to send a picture, you can email them at info@oconnorsrestaurant.com.